Hi, hello, welcome. I'm so excited for this little chat that we're about to have because it's been coming up for me a lot. I've made comments on Instagram and people are like, "Ooh, tell me more." No, I disagree with you. Yes, I totally agree. I have felt this too. So it seems to be people are on both sides and people want to know more. So I've done the research as a classic 1-3 and experimented, which is funny. And I've got two screens here, so bear with me as I likely fuck this up. But I will share this screen so I can use my notes because I have things I don't want to forget to say. And why do I always forget how to make this big? I don't know. Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to talk about human design versus common manifestation techniques. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? All right, we're going to get real here. Sorry, I just had a pretzel. We're going to get real here. I'm going to tell you the absolute truth about my perspective on this. And the research that I've done is source material, obviously. So I've been teaching human design for, I don't know, almost a decade probably. And it has changed my life in so many ways. But the number one reason why I fell in love with human design is because it made me feel so seen. Like my 1-3 profile, I was like, that's me to a T. My manifesting generator energy, totally. Yes. My undefined solar plexus, yes. Like I just felt so seen. And I felt like for the first time in a really long time, I was starting to understand my energy. I was starting to understand who I was. And honestly, there's still nothing quite like human design that has given me the same type of permission to stop pretending that I'm somebody that I'm not, or that I'm not highly sensitive, right? So that it has truly given me so much permission to be the person that I am today, honestly. But lately, I've been bumping up against some things that challenge everything that human design says about what we can and can't create for our lives, and whether we can or can't create our lives, about whether we're even the creators of our own lives. And it's given me some feels. Okay. So many of you know that a few months ago I did a little brainwashing experiment. And you know what was not part of that brainwashing experiment was studying more human design. What I was doing was experimenting with manifestation techniques. It was reading, it was listening, it was immersing myself really deep into manifestation teachings. Neville Goddard. If you're not familiar with Neville Goddard, we're going to be talking about him a lot. He's basically manifestation daddy. Okay, whereas Carl Jung is shadow work daddy and Ra is human design daddy. Neville is my manifestation daddy. And obviously I say that jokingly, but there are so many. It's the teachings you all know and love is Neville Goddard's teachings. And I'll explain it a little bit more. Sorry. So while I have dabbled with the work of manifestation, the Kabbalah, you guys know I was on my Kabbalah thing last year. I've dabbled with all of this before, probably for the last 25 years. But this time Neville really, really called to me and I got super deep into it. So Neville Goddard, this man basically says, you're God, right? You are a fractal of God, which is what the Kabbalah teaches as well. You're the dreamer of reality. The world, your reality, what you're experiencing is simply just a reflection. Many of you have probably heard the world is you pushed out. The world is you reflected. which is a little different from Ra, because Ra is saying, you know what, let me, Neville is saying you're the creator of your life. Ra is saying you're the passenger. You're the passenger in a car, and the magnetic monopole is the one driving. So the magnetic monopole, according to Ra, is you're in your G center. Okay, actually, let me show you guys a picture. I think this will help. If you've studied human design for a minute or longer, you've probably come across this picture. And this is in the book of the definitive book of human design. This is the human design Bible, as I call it. And what Ra explains is that the magnetic monopole is essentially what's driving. And he explains it like a railroad car that's attached to the electric, and it's kind of like a grid. So the magnetic monopole attached to this grid is essentially your destiny. Ross says one of the functions of the magnetic monopole is to connect us to our movement in time through space, guiding us along our path of our geometry in life, what we call destiny. So you as the mind is the passenger. The design, all those red numbers, is your car. That's the vehicle, that's your body. And the personality just sits, right? The passenger, the mind just sits. It does not make any decisions, while the magnetic monopole, essentially your destiny, finds you, or you find it. The car finds it, right? The design, your strategy and authority. So you can see how this might have caused a little bit of interference in my brain. My brain was short circuiting because I'm like, well, am I the creator of my life? Or is my job to not manifest outcomes, but just relax into who I am? But then do I not have a choice about who I am, or do I have a choice about who I am? It was ping pong in my brain. So today, what I'm going to show you is both of these frameworks, because the truth is that both work. And we're going to do a little bit of comparing and contrasting. I may or may not have created a Venn diagram. Because while they both work, they do also contradict each other. And how you relate to these ideas is going to literally change what you create, manifest, or don't believe in, and what's possible for you in 2026 and forever. Your life, your business, your body, everything. Everything. So I don't want you to feel like you have to choose. And I'm going to tell you this straight up. I don't think you don't have to choose just one thing. You can integrate them, but I think you're going to not want to choose one thing. I think you're going to want to put your belief more heavily into one framework, because I find that kind of gives you an anchor. Anyway, by the end of this class, you're going to choose what's right for you, or combine them like I do. Spoiler alert. Okay. Let's talk about Ra. Oh, Ra. Ra and I have a love-hate relationship. Okay, so this is what human design says. Human design says your design is fixed at birth. The magnetic monopole that's in your G center that holds your personality and your design together also moves you along your destined path. Your design crystal is the body / vehicle, and your personality is the passenger. Talked about that. The you that is observing me, that is listening to me, that is thinking, which is awareness and mind, that you is not in control. No part of you, according to human design, is in control. You're just watching life play out and following strategy and authority. Your mind has nothing to do with human design. In fact, if it was up to Ra, he would remove your mind completely. In a direct quote from Ra, your mind shouldn't make decisions. When you let your mind decide, you make dumb choices. Philosophical. When you let your mind decide, you suffer. When you surrender to your body's strategy and authority, life clicks, according to Ra. The human design game is this: it's surrender to your geometry, to your design. Don't override it with your mind. It's sit back, relax, follow strategy and authority, and let your magnetic monopole do the work. Essentially, watch your life unfold on its own, because anything you may want to create, any goals you may have, anything you may want to manifest, is coming from your not self mind. So Ra was very against manifestation. He thought it was dumb, because anything that is coming from the mind is not self, according to Ra. So when you let your mind decide, you're going to make dumb choices. Neville and friends. Let's talk about Neville's friends for a second, because I want to, even if you don't know Neville Goddard, I want you definitely absolutely know some of his friends. His friends include the Bible, Florence Sheen, Joe Dispenza, the Kabbalah, the Kabbalion, most mystical teachings, many quantum physicists, Vadim Zeeland, the wrote Reality Transurfing, the Hicks gang, Abraham, the other ones, what's her name, Esther, many neuroscientists, whoever created NLP, Joseph Murphy, all the gang, okay? The manifestation gang, as we'll call them. What they essentially say is that you are awareness. You've heard this, the I am. I am is awareness. And that awareness creates your reality essentially through imagination, or through believing, through seeing, through becoming aware. And awareness is different than mind. And this is a whole different class. But I just want to make that distinction real quickly, because being aware of something is different than thinking it or seeing it. Like being aware, I can be aware of anything with my eyes closed, and I can experience it. That is my awareness. So I can be aware of me driving a white G-Wagon, right? This has been my dream car since 2003. When I stepped foot inside of a G-Wagon, New York City, the song playing on the radio was Usher, Yeah. Yes, I remember all of these things. And there was like there's a whole story behind it. But anyway, I can be aware of that. And just me becoming aware of that, feeling like I have it, I do have it in my awareness, creates that reality. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about when I say awareness. Neville and his friends believe that there is no fixed form. The body, your story, your mind, even the past, all of it is moldable. And we know this through science, through epigenetics, right? We can change our genes. You assume a new state, and the world reorganizes to create that state in your reality. I choose in my awareness. I'm going to go into my mind right now, and I'm so happy. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm living life. Life is good. Everything's great. I look good. I feel good. I make good money. I help good people. Now, my reality is going to portray that. That is what Neville believes, okay? Consciousness is the only reality. You already are what you want to be. You just don't believe it yet. So all of reality is available to us. Everything is available to us. We just have to believe it. A little bit different from human design, where we are sort of in a cage of our design. Yes, Ra says we have all of the elements, and they are all lit up at some point based on transits and based on who we come into contact with. But still, more empowering is you already have everything. Literally everything is available to you. Every little thing. If you can conceive it, it's available to you. You just have to believe it. So the Neville and Friends manifestation game is don't wait. Assume it's real now, become aware of it in your mind, in your awareness, feel it, believe it, and your reality is going to shift. What we're saying here is that Neville believes your awareness is the only real thing. Your imagination creates your world, and what you believe becomes real. Anything is possible for you. Whereas Ra believes everything that is meant to be yours will be yours without effort or the mind interfering if you just follow strategy and authority. But what's meant to be yours is in your body graph. It's pre-written, it's destiny. You guys, are you ready for my Venn diagram? Okay. I hope this is easy to see and read on a screen because clearly I don't know how to share this. All right. So HD, human design, and Ra believe in fixed form. Your design is chosen at birth. Your body drives, not the mind. You don't get to have desires. Don't desire anything. In fact, false desires come from your open centers, your bridges, your conditioning factors. Strategy and authority are your GPS. This is your intuition, nothing else. And pure surrender is your path. Surrender to who you are. Neville and friends believe that your consciousness is unlimited, that you can have anything. Imagination is what creates your reality. The past can be revised. You are not in the car, you're dreaming the entire scene. It's all in your reality. I mean, in your consciousness. Everything is in your awareness. Everything is in your consciousness because your awareness and your consciousness create everything. Assumption, which is essentially your identity, overrides all limitations. If you assume, if you identify with being the person that is rich, that has the love of their life, that is blah, 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 it can be real. Now, here's where the two converge, meet in the middle. Forcing from the mind never works, right? We know that to be true. The state of being precedes your results. You have to feel it, you have to be it. Present moment awareness is key. So even with strategy and authority, you can't follow strategy and authority if you're not present. With Neville, if you're not present in your awareness, creating the thing you want to create, feeling the way that you want to feel, it's not going to manifest. Your body cues are always valid if they arise from assumed states or design. Meaning, if what Neville et al. Is that how you say it? Believes is that if your body will literally help you take the correct action as long as it's coming from your desired state rather than the state of lack. And Ra believes that your body is literally strategy and authority. It's your intuition. It's going to tell you where to go. So similar. Your job is alignment, whether it's energetic or mechanical. So energetic when it comes to Neville, this is frequency, and mechanical when it comes to Ra and human design. But here's our core conflict, right? Here's our issue, if you will. Is our life pre-written? Are we just following? And I know these are big questions. These are like big spiritual, what the fuck is life questions. Is our life predetermined? Is it just destiny? Or are we writing life as we go? Is the point of life to experience it very specifically in a very specific way that somebody decided we're meant to? Or is the point of life to experience everything that life has to offer, to experience different forms, to see how we respond to different experiences, to get what we want, but also not get what we want, to know what it's like to desire, to know what it's like to have, all of those things. Ra says your design is the cause. Consciousness is only here to witness it. Whereas Neville says your awareness is the cause. Your current design is the effect. Your awareness created what's in front of you. Here's an example. I'm a manifesting generator and I want to create a coaching program. I want to create a digital offer. I want to create something. Okay. Human design tells me don't you initiate. You just wait. You wait and you're going to respond to something. And I do like that part. I do like waiting to respond. It feels magical. And then use your sacral to make sure it's correct for you specifically. Neville says, cool, great idea, girlfriend. Assume you're already the type of person that creates powerful, incredible programs that help amazing people do even more amazing things. Pretend you're already that person. Just like put it in your awareness, be it and feel it. Now take action. Act from that place. What would that girl do? What would she put out there? What would she create? And the world is going to follow your belief. So this is the split that we have here. We have selection, right? Select your life. Choose your state of awareness. And we have just completely surrender to life. They're very different. This is like public education and Montessori school. I don't know why that example just came to me. But this is like a very concrete framework, public education, with a homeschool free run, a homestead, what I don't know what that's called, where you just like run around and do whatever you want. I know that's not homeschool. Like one of those farming things where they're just running around and learning from experiences. Love that. Okay. We've come to the most important part, which is where we get to talk about me. Tell me you're individual without telling me. See, love human design. Can't get away from it. Describes me to a T. How else would I describe my narcissism? I'm just kidding. Totally not narcissistic. Okay. Here's where I stand. So I don't fully believe Ra anymore. I don't fully believe everything that Ra teaches. I think Ra left out some really key pieces of human design, ones that I have now added, shameless plug for my work. But even so, the teachings are incomplete. Ra's teachings are incomplete for me at the least and disempowering at the most. And maybe this is what comes when you evolve past your design. Maybe this is what comes when you've healed your design. A lot of us have, actually, I'll get to that in a second. So Ra explicitly taught no choice, no free will, fixed imprinting, mechanics over meaning, correctness over desire, awareness as observation, not creation. Now, as I'm saying this, I already feel like you guys are angry with me. All of the human design enthusiasts are like, well, no, you got this wrong. And yes, maybe, obviously, this is my perspective. So I'm open to exploring and I'm open to hearing your opinions in the comments, in my DMs, whatever. In the comments is more fun because then other people can interact. But this is just where I currently stand. Human design makes a lot of sense. It is very well thought out. It explains how things work in a clear, logical, mechanical way, and it works. It intentionally takes the ego out of our life, which I love. Perfection, right? But it can also be very intense and impractical, right? It doesn't focus on emotions as much. There's definitely nothing comforting. It's reassuring in terms of like, oh yes, this is how I play out my life. And yes, now something else has validated me, but we don't really need that validation. Ra would actually say that's not self. So if we use human design just to validate us, Ra would probably say the entire system of human design is not self. That's okay. For a system that focuses so heavily on the body through strategy and authority, there isn't much talk about trauma or nervous system regulation or how we hold so much of our past in our bodies that will will does affect the way the strategy and authority work. Now, I know this is a little bit beyond Ra's time. Like, there was not so much talk about nervous system regulation when Ra was alive. I get that. But in my opinion, the system needs to be evolved drastically in order to fit into today's world and the advancement of science and psychology, which is basically why I created the Advanced Psychology of Human Design. Sorry, that's my last shameless plug, but I will post a link to that because I do talk nervous system regulation. I do talk trauma. I do talk shadow work. I do talk neuroscience, all of those things, and how it fits into human design. But a lot of human design people hate me for it because that's not what Ra taught. Well, what Ra taught is incomplete, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. So HD can feel very confronting. It can feel very cold. It can be very discouraging if you're someone that has a lot of trauma, which is where I was. I really had to fight through the system and make some adjustments to make it work for me. So if you're looking for meaning, hope, a sense of personal choice, that's not really Ra's area of expertise. That wasn't really his point. He wasn't trying to comfort you. He, in fact, was not a comforting man at all. He wanted us to face the truth of who we really are and how the world works according to him and the voice. According to the stars, right? He wanted us to face our destiny according to the stars, according to traditional Western astrology, which, again, in my humble opinion, is not even real. The planets are not even where Western astrology says they should be. And I've done the research on this, and there is a class that I did on traditional human design and sidereal human design, sidereal astrology, which I know a lot of you have watched and have really enjoyed. So I will make that public, and I will put a link to it in the notes. My point is that I'm not so sure human design was built on something real. But duh, right? Like Ra was shrooming and a voice came to him. Like, duh, none of us are surprised. But at this point, I'm pretty much in full alignment with the teachings of Neville Goddard, the Kabbalah, his friends, the gang, the Manny gang, the manifestation gang. Not in like a fluffy Instagram quote kind of way, but in like I lived it, I experienced it, I tested it, I watched it work. I've been manifesting for 30 plus years, right? 25. I watched it work in ways that human design felt sticky for me. Neville explicitly taught awareness is our only reality. Identity precedes our experience. We are not fixed. The body, the story, your mind, your genetics, all of that is moldable. Imagination is magical and casual, right? It's just life, miracles. You don't wait, you assume the reality you want now. And feeling, being is the real law. What resonates most for me is that Neville restores our authority, restores our creatorship. He doesn't reduce us to mechanics, conditionings, fate, destiny. He reminds us that we are consciousness first, not your chart, not your body, not your history, not your trauma, not your conditioning, not your shadows. Consciousness. Every single day you get to choose. Every single day you get to choose who you are being. Now, the fact that you have a hard time, me too, have a hard time controlling this does not mean it's incorrect. It just means that the world was not created for us to easily be able to create and have authority. The world was created to distract us, which means we have to take back control of our minds and our awareness, which is our attention, what we pay attention to. Anyway, for me, Neville's work feels very alive, very empowering, very expansive. Every single day I wake up and I'm like, yes, I get to create whatever the fuck I want today, no matter what my design says. I can or can't do. It gives me meaning, it gives me hope, possibility, all of that, especially for people who have already done a lot of inner work and feel like human design is sort of keeping them small. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, you're misunderstanding human design. And maybe I am. Maybe I am. But that said, and this matters, manifestation teachings can also go very wrong when they are misunderstood. It's not toxic positivity. It's not think better thoughts. It's not just pretend everything is fine. There's a lot of shadow work involved. But the key is being anchored to a state that no longer needs proof, which means I'm safe in here with me no matter what. And this requires emotional regulation, self-trust, deep healing, shadow work, all things that our body graph can help us with if we know how to read it in that perspective, which is why I teach you how to read it, which is why I teach you how to read what I call the shadow chart. Because even if you don't follow strategy and authority at all, and you don't follow any of Ra's other teachings, if you learn your deepest conditioning factors from your body graph and you learn how to heal those, you will be able to manifest. You'll be able to create anything. Shit will make sense. So for me, Neville doesn't completely replace human design. I believe both of them have pieces of truth. So here's where I stand today. Where I have. Sorry, I forgot where I was in my thing. So Neville says you're not locked into one version of yourself. When you change who you are being inside, your life changes on the outside. Ra said you already have a built-in design. When you fight it, life feels hard. When you follow it, things flow better. So where I land today, consciousness is primary, my consciousness. I believe Neville is absolutely right about that. Design is our current interface. Human design describes how your consciousness is expressing right now in several frequencies. Shadows, gift, which is actually gene keys. But human design, if you follow my work, if you have ever taken any class that I've ever taught or follow my Instagram, you know that I talk about frequency in terms of the shadow and the gift of your gates, but also the conditioning and the wisdom of your openness. Your type may be a reflection for your current assumptions, but your assumptions can shift. So your type isn't meant to hold you back, which I see so many people do, and it drives me insane. Your body graph does provide a very direct, clear, focused map for your natural strengths, your abilities. And this can absolutely help us with your life direction, your purpose, business, how you interact with lovers, your mechanical system. But that doesn't mean that these things cannot change, that you cannot alter them, that you cannot be and have more. And that's where human design falls short for me. So I still use human design for business. I think it's powerful. And I think nowadays people need a very direct, very clear way. This is what you need to do to make money. Does this resonate with you? Yes, great. Go and do it. No? Okay. Let's hit the whiteboard, right? Let's workshop it a little bit more. We don't have to use human design, but it can point us in the best direction. Agreed. 100%. Will it validate the way that I feel? Yes, a lot of times about myself, who I really am, but also I'm greater than that. I'm way greater than that. I'm way bigger than that, which is a conversation a lot of us have had about tropical astrology and sidereal astrology and how your human design in tropical is different than sidereal. And we really kind of decided that sidereal is your higher self, is like I graduated traditional astrology. I graduated the tropical human design body graph, and I've moved on to sidereal. Just another way of looking at it. Human design is not a prison, but it's a mirror for our default trajectory. So It is a mirror for our default trajectory, but we are greater. We can change. I believe we can change that trajectory. And Neville really gives us the power to shift it. When I say Neville, I mean like as a whole, like the manifestation teachings. So here's how I use human design. I use human design to understand my current programming, where I feel resistance. I use it as a map to help me create things, products, things that are going to resonate with me. I use it for my shadows and my bridges, for my openness, where I might still be bumping up against resistance. I use it in business in terms of my niche, my messaging. I use my openness. And, I talk all about that inside the human design income system. And I use Neville every single day to assume new states of being and to shift what I'm actually creating. Using Neville every single day. When I mean use it, I mean taking moments every single day to meditate, to clear my awareness, to choose who I want to be. But also I read a lot and I listen a lot. And it has changed my life in just the last few months of being devoted, committed to this work. So, in conclusion, you get to choose what you want to believe in. If you crave structure and surrender, then human design is going to feel like home. If you crave expansion, freedom, then Neville might be your guide. Or, like me, you can hold both. Your design is the pattern that you're playing, and your consciousness is the musician who can change the song. So, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What do you think? Is it just one? Is it, or are we meant to combine it? What do you think? Excited to hear from you. Love you all. Bye.